I'm in style today, Colored Valley style. Today we are going to fry up some okra. Chris just picked this beautiful bell pepper out of the garden. It is so shiny and pretty. And he went and got me a few tomatoes. We've got a little onion, some okra that I've already sliced. And we're only making a little bit because it's just me and Chris and Amy, okay? I've got salt, pepper, cornmeal, self-rising flour, and my Old Faithful whole buttermilk. Actually, this is fat-free, so I'm going to have to use it sparingly. The thicker it is, the better it does with your vegetables and meats. So I need to get me some whole buttermilk. We're going to just slice up a little bit of onion to go in this. And I am not making a lot, so I think I'm just going to cut up about half of this small onion. Oh, I know what we need to do, y'all. We need to preheat our skillet. So, and I'll put it on about medium. It'll be hot by the time we're finished. I'm going to grab something to put my trash in. And I'm going to grab something to bread my okra on when I'm ready. So here's my trash bowl. So I think I'm going to cut up this onion, not real small, so that it'll be good fried, okay? I think those size pieces are about right. I don't want this big fat piece in there. My goodness, this onion is stuck together like glue. I'm just going to throw it in there and toss it in a minute. All right. And now we're going to cut up some tomato. Now, I've got a couple of tomato that are, they're half and half, kind of half ripe, half green. And that way you kind of get the best of both worlds. Uh-oh, this one's got a bad place on the inside of it. We'll use this side of it. So this is frying okra, but you're just adding a bunch of good ingredients in there with it. So it's gonna, go a little further once you add the tomatoes and the onion. And I'm gonna chop up just a little bit of bell pepper, not much, but just because he got one out of the garden today, I'm thinking, yeah, let's do it, okay? Now I'm gonna chop up it a little bit smaller so it'll kind of mingle in throughout all of this stuff. And we'll toss it good. Let me see if I think this mix is good enough. I'm gonna throw in just a little bit of the green tomato. Lord, we still got tomatoes, plenty of them. I'm going to slice the green tomato a little bit thinner because it's not as soft on the inside as the red tomato. I'm going to go ahead and use all of it. So the good thing about this recipe is you can make as much of it as you want to. It's according to how big your family is. And just remember that once you start adding all the ingredients to it, there's more stuff in your bowl. So we're going to mix this up good. Get all the pieces mingled together. I'm going to have to pull these onions apart because I don't want big hunks of onions in here. I want them to be separate so that everybody gets a little bite. So take the time out to pull your onion apart. And I'm going to grab the rest of this one over here and cut it up a little and throw it in there because there ain't no sense in wasting it. Okay, I'm going to go rinse my hands and then we're going to salt and pepper it. Hello, Joanne. All right, this should be getting warm over here. It is warm, nice and hot. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in some oil because this is going to be ready to fry up in just a second. So I'm going to cover the bottom with oil. I was going to use Crisco, but I figured we'll use oil today. All right, I'm going to dry my hands really well to be able to pick up this salt and pepper. And I like to salt and pepper my okra once I get it in here. Let's toss a little bit of buttermilk in it real quick. It only takes a couple of tablespoons to a tablespoon to wet everything. One lady told me the other day that if she didn't learn anything at all from me, she was just happy she learned to use buttermilk on her vegetables before she fried them because she said it sure was good. And it is good, y'all. You don't want to get it too wet though, okay? Now we're going to take the sifter. I didn't use this as a trash can like I said I was going to. So, now we're going to take this Pyrex pie plate, and I'm going to put flour down the bottom of it. And now I'm going to sprinkle a little cornmeal down in it too. And I'm going to pour about half of this on top of this, kind of spread out, so it'll all get a little bit breaded. And this is when I salt and pepper, once I got it in here. That way I can make sure to get plenty on all of it. So I'm going to take the salt and salt it all. And take the pepper and pepper it good. And then we're going to put some more flour on it. And I'm just throwing in a little cornmeal just to be a little different, because y'all know I usually don't use cornmeal on anything that I bread. But today, since we're doing a deluxe cornbread, well, I called it fried Okra Deluxe. I figured I'd use just a little bit of cornmeal, but mostly flour, because that's what gets so crunchy. And my cornmeal's cornmeal mix anyway, y'all. I don't use, make sure you get plenty on it, okay? I don't use plain cornmeal and add flour to it. I use buttermilk cornmeal mix, White Lily.
Martha White.
Oh, is today Martha White's?
Yeah,
whatever.
That's Martha White.
Okay, I'm going to put a piece of okra in here. Always take a piece of your vegetable or whatever it is you're frying, piece of meat, and do a test piece and make sure it's nice and hot before you add it to your skillet. And we can see that it is. See, it's already getting brown. So, that's what we wanted it to do. I'm going to go ahead and start putting this in there. And as I'm putting it in here, I'm going to go ahead and turn up the heat, because this is going to cool it down a little bit. Now, when you fry okra or any kind of vegetable or meat, really, the key to the breading staying on there is making sure that your grease is hot enough, okay? So, get it down in there. Make sure it's sizzling. When you add it to the skillet, turn your temperature up a little bit until you see that it's not going to cool down too quick. If you're using something that's been refrigerated and it's really cold, you better make sure to do that. Now, once that gets good and hot and you feel like it's, you know, at a stable point, you can turn it down just a notch, because you want it to have time to cook it and not burn it at the same time. So I'm going to put it back down on about a medium, and we're going to wait till it's nice and golden brown, and then we're going to flip it. So this is just a really good, something really good to make when your garden's coming in, especially. And I know that a lot of the southern people's gardens have played out, but quite a few of y'all that are up in the northern states still have plenty of vegetables. And me and Chris actually planted late, so our vegetables are still making good progress. Now, you're going to want that to sit in there and get good and brown. And I really need to add a little bit more oil to it. Not a lot, but a little on this side. Seems like there's not enough. All right, that's good. So now, once it gets nice and brown on the bottom, not light brown, because right now it's already a little bit light brown, but you want it to get nice and dark, okay? Now, I use my sifter all the time. So I just keep it in this bowl and keep it up in my pantry like this. And well, it's my cabinet. But I keep it up there all the time because I use it daily practically.
Somebody asked about your cookbooks. Those are all cookbooks down there.
Yes.
That's not all her cookbooks. That's just some of her cookbooks.
Well, most of my favorites. I've gotten rid of a lot of miscellaneous ones. So, I've got quite a few. A little collection. That's still not quite brown enough, y'all. We got to let it brown a little bit more. It just takes a minute to fry up okra. I'm going to turn it up so y'all aren't on here forever. But I will say that gas stoves do take longer to fry up okra than electric stoves. The electric stove actually gets hotter. It's just harder to regulate it. I'll tell them about my kitchen stuff while we're waiting, I guess. I do this, and some people are not that crazy about it. And then some people don't mind. And the reason I do it more than anything is not so that I sell a whole lot. It's that I get so many questions. How do I get your cookbook? How do I get that utensil you're using? Etc. You wouldn't believe how many questions we get. So if I go ahead and place it inside of a video, it helps me and the viewer out. Our cookbooks are available on our website at www.coloredvalleycooks.com. There's a cookbook tab. They're very easy to get. Another thing that's available is anything you see me using in my kitchen. These buckets, these nice scoop measuring scoops, my salt and pepper mill, anything that's in here, these Pyrex pie plates that I use on a regular basis, you can actually find links to order through Amazon, and we get a small proceed, and it helps us make a little bit of money for doing the show. All right, we're going to turn these now. They look pretty. I bet this is going to be so good. I need a thing. Well, don't get burnt. The edge always gets more done in the middle in a cast iron skillet, because cast iron gets hotter where the flame is, and the flame is around the exterior. So anytime you're frying in cast iron, make sure that when you flip it, you take the middle part and bring it back over to the edge so that it can too get brown. So you kind of have to rotate it, if that makes sense, a little bit. So if you see some that are getting really brown, put them in the middle and try to get the lighter ones back around the edge where the fire is. See, that one's really brown. Here's our little test piece that we put in to begin with. There it is. I'm going to take it out and put it on my pan and eat it. But it's looking good. You can see those red tomatoes have gotten a little bit soft. And I'm sure they're releasing just a little bit of water. You can hear that popping. And that's probably from the tomato, I would think. Not the green tomato, but the little, they were kind of half ripe ones in there. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and taste this piece over here because I can. Let's see if it's good. It's really, really good. But I did put the cornmeal in there, which I don't normally do. And I will say that it does taste different with the cornmeal. To me, I personally like all flour, but I'm sure anybody in their right mind who got a bite of this would love it because it's delicious. But you can taste the cornmeal. So if you like the, you know, me and Chris had cornbread milk for lunch yesterday. He was in the mood for cornmeal and cornbread and the great northern beans that I cooked a few days ago. So I ate cornbread and milk, and I sliced a nice ripe tomato out of the garden in it. This is really ready, y'all. I'm going to take it out. Now, if you're making okra or a fried vegetable, and you're taking it out before supper, which is what we're doing right now, so that we can show it to you live, to keep it, see how the cornmeal keeps it from breading as good to me. I mean, some of them look better than others. See? But I think they would have stuck better together if I had only used flour myself. But anyway, you can put these out on a paper towel, but not for very long, just long enough to kind of cool down just a little bit. And then you're going to want to flip them out on a sheet pan and put them in the oven and keep them warm, so that they stay nice and crunchy before you eat your supper. Or if you've got an air fryer, you throw them in there. And it looks different than just fried okra because you can see the okra, the onion, the tomato. So it looks really good.
And there was a person that had a question, and we will answer that at the end.
What was it?
So if you'll just hang on.
Okay. So good. It's delicious. Okay. Hope you've enjoyed watching Deluxe Fried Okra with Collard Valley Cooks. I hope you join us again. And we're going to actually take this, I'm going to flip it out, put it in my air fryer, and toast it up right before we eat supper because I'm about to make some pork chops. So thanks for watching.
Now, if you have any questions, we'll go ahead and we'll get those now. That way,
okay, yeah.
That way,
if anybody has a question,
when we edit the video, it'll make sense.
Right.
There was one lady that was asking about the chocolate cake and using butter instead of margarine.
You can use butter instead of margarine anytime. You can use shortening instead of margarine. As long as you use a fat that's, you know, kind of a room temperature, it's a solid. You can substitute butter for margarine, coconut, you know, the coconut margarine, not margarine, the coconut oil that's, but it's, you know, it's solid. Anything like that. And I think coconut oil would probably be pretty doggone good in that chocolate cake. Mm-hmm. There's just some things I wouldn't use it in because it is strong. Like I wouldn't fry my okra in it for sure. I wouldn't mind putting it in dessert.
All right. Any other questions before we sign off?
Let me tell you this too, with a cake, liquid form You can substitute water with milk or coffee and chocolate cakes as well, and even buttermilk. So,
Okay.
thanks.
All right. I think that's it. That's the last
Okay.
question.
Thanks for watching Color Valley Cooks, where we cook. Y'all, this is so good. I just got a bite of that green tomato. Holy smokes, this is delicious. You got the green tomato, you got the tomato, the onion, the okra. It's like all the good worlds together in one dish. Yummy. This is really good. Bye, y'all.